This is the true story of three people picked to live in a loft, work together, and have their lives taped to find out what happens when people stop being polite and start getting real. This is the real world, Indianapolis. Why is that? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? My mic was muted, but now it's not muted. Welcome to the and I'm your quality control coach. Before I get into the mock draft, because I want you guys to know, I have been studying players all day. Okay. I am officially an expert on all the players who are in this year's draft because I started my research this morning and I have strong opinions, as anyone who's been doing homework for a few hours would. So I'm going to get into my extensive research and my expert takes. And I'm going to tell John Lynch how to do his job because that's what I do. I shoot from the hip and I try to fake it with some confidence. See if it works today. But first, before I get into that, I wanted to show you what I'm doing. This is how you do it. This is how you live it up in Indianapolis. I really like coming out here. Came out here last year, stayed by myself. This year, I kind of took my time booking things. And a few days before I had to actually book, the great Hawk blogger, Brian Nemhauser, friend of the show, texted me and said, "Are you going?" Because I hung out with him last time and I said, "Of course." And he said, "Well, I have this huge loft and I was supposed to get 5 credentials for his whole crew, but he only got 2. So he has 3 empty beds. Would I like one?" I said, "Yeah, sounds fun. I like hanging out with people. I'm a social guy." So I said, "Yes, please, and thank you." So he didn't tell me anything about it. I show up yesterday. It's right downtown and it's freaking beautiful. I walk in and I feel like I'm on the real world Indianapolis. You know how like the first episode they walk in, they're like, "Oh my God, I can't believe we're staying here. Oh my, can I have this room?" And that's how it felt. And like, just look around. Hold on. I'm saying you got like, what do you call that? Shuffleboard behind me. I have a freaking shuffleboard. And there's lofts and stuff. There's bricks. I like a good brick wall. I feel like you don't see brick walls in California that much because of earthquakes and such. So you got brick, you know what I mean? You got high ceilings, you got class. This is how we do it out here in Indianapolis. I got in late last night, went out to get a burger. Place was open till 11. Gotta love that. Everything's closed in California at 11 at night. So guess what I'm trying to say is that I love Indianapolis and I'm moving here soon for the weather. So that's what I'm up to. Tomorrow, everything starts. John Lynch talks tomorrow at 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 Pacific. I'll go live with my dad right after that. Immediately after that. Last year, John Lynch did a public press conference at a podium, and then he did an informal one with the beat writers right after for about like half an hour. We'll see if he does that again. I would imagine he will. But one way or another, I'm having a great time because I'm broadcasting live from the lofts in Indianapolis. And I don't think it gets much better than this. A lot of people say that Indianapolis is the San Francisco of the Midwest. A lot of people saying that, and I can see why. I mean, look at this place. The bricks alone. So, shout out to Brian Nemhauser for inviting me. I really do appreciate it. Let's talk the biggest draft priority for the 49ers. Since I know free agency is starting in a couple of weeks, but it's combine time. So we got to talk drafts. And again, I have been studying these players extensively for hours. So I have a real good sense of like where the draft is strong and where it's weak and where the Niners. Here's the thing. Before I get too specific, because I don't want to get too technical for, the layman out there, let's just go big picture. What is the number one priority for the 49ers in the draft? Doesn't mean it's the position they have to take first. I'm not saying that. But it is the position that the Niners have to have the most clear-cut plan for. They got to have a plan to get a starter at this position and I see like if you're looking for a day one starter, you can't really wait much longer than round 3. Once you get into day 3, those are players that could become starters at one point in their career, but if you really think of them as day one starters, that's round 3 at the latest. So, what is the Niners' biggest draft priority? I think it's clear. I think it's the interior of their offensive line. It doesn't mean they got to take a guard in round 1. They could. They could have last year. Gray Zabel would have been a great pick. They didn't. I don't know that there's a guard necessarily worth the pick at 27, even though I'm a draft expert who knows these players intimately for the last, minutes and minutes and minutes. They could take a guard in round 1. They've never taken a guard in round 1 under Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. They took Josh Garnett in round 1 when Balky was here and Chip Kelly was here, and he was one of the worst players ever taken by the Niners in round 1, so I can understand. But I just want to point out, I think the theme, you always want to learn from the team that just won the Super Bowl. And I think the Seahawks are very interesting and instructive because they've now built 2 Super Bowl winning teams with the same GM, but completely different players. And one of the reasons the Seahawks were in purgatory for so long was their offensive line wasn't good. We talked about it for years. Russell Wilson was always under siege and running around, and then Geno Smith was always getting sacked, and people always made excuses for Geno because he had no pass protection, and it was true. So what did John Schneider finally do last year? Finally, he spent a first-round pick on interior offensive line. I don't think he'd ever done that before. He made it pretty clear he would invest in offensive tackles, but not offensive guards early in the draft, and he did. And all of a sudden, they had a first-round pick at left tackle, a first-round pick at left guard. They were tough up front. They could run the ball between the tackles. They could run the ball outside the tackles. Sam Darnold had time. They won the Super Bowl. It was more important for them to solidify the left guard spot with a guy who's a potential Pro Bowler. I mean, Gray Zabel's probably a future All-Pro, than to get another weapon. Could they have used another weapon? I mean, yeah. They freaking signed Marquez Valdez-Scantling days before the draft because they didn't really have a number 2 receiver. They were hoping Cooper Kupp could do something for him, and he was okay. Stepped up in the playoffs. But they essentially had 1 great receiver, 2 good running backs, a mediocre tight end. Maybe that's not fair. A solid tight end. A low-end number 2 receiver. No real number 3. They had to make a mid-season trade. They didn't win because of their weapons. They won because of their defense and their offensive line. And their wide receiver, who was the offensive player of the year. I mean, everyone wants him. But they made a big change. We got to address the offensive line, namely the interior. They never really did. They never made serious additions to the interior of their offensive line. And they did with Gray Zabel. They win a Super Bowl. The Niners need to follow suit. It doesn't mean reach for a guard in round 1 because you're not getting Gray Zabel. You had the chance last year and you took a run defender instead. Shame on you. That's your fault. You could take one in round 2. You could take one in round 3. You took Aaron Banks in round 2 in 20. What was that? 21? 2020, 2021, 2020? 29? I don't even remember when the heck they took Aaron Banks. But you took him. He was a disappointment. He never lived up to what the Niners hoped. They didn't give him a second contract. Packers did, and they regret it. So you don't have to go round 2. You could. You could wait until round 3. That's when you got Dominic Pooney. He's not a great offensive lineman, although he was pretty good his rookie year. Played through a PCL injury his sophomore year, his second year. He's got a lot of potential, and he was a day 1 starter. So I wouldn't be surprised I wouldn't be against the Niners waiting until round 3 and taking a guard then. But they need to take one no later than round 3, unless they want to sign one. The problem is signing a guard in free agency is if he sucks, he's $15 million a year. If he's good, he's at least $20 million a year. If he's good, he's not hitting free agency, most likely. If he's hitting free agency, he's like 33 or coming off a season-ending injury and he's getting $20 million a year. That's why the Seahawks drafted Gray Zabel as opposed to trying to get the best guard on the market. Good luck with that. If you want to have a good offensive line, you probably need to draft it. Probably. Unless, you're not paying a ton of money for a quarterback and a defensive end, and you could be like the Bears and get the best and get Joe Tooney, get an all-pro left guard, give him hella money, be like, well, it's fine. We're not paying for a quarterback right now. Niners can't do that. So you got to address the interior of the offensive line. You can't run the ball on the Seahawks. Forget getting the ball down the field because you can't block their defensive line. And the Seahawks get cute with their run defense. Like, they're not trying to load the box. They're trying to do it with the light box and two deep safeties, which means one of their defensive linemen has to two gap. He's responsible for two gap. You got to punish that. How do you punish him? Put a great offensive lineman in his freaking face. Not freaking Nick Zakelj. Is that the plan? Better not be the plan. We saw Connor Colby. They thought he was better than Nick Zakelj, who was on the freaking practice squad. Neither one is a starter in the league. Not starters. Not even starters. You want a top 10 left guard. You got to try to find that. Maybe you can get that in round 3. If you take a guy in round 1, I'm not against it, but he needs to not be a reach. I don't think they're going to take a guard in round 1 like the Seahawks did. The Seahawks, what I like about them, it seems like they learn from their mistakes and make adjustments. The Niners act like they've won Super Bowls and need to just stay the course. So should we get into our mock draft? Let's get into the mock draft. Hold on. Okay, this is the Pro Football Focus Draft Simulator. Let's go to the Niners at 27. Let's enter the draft. Okay, start draft. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so let's see who's been taken. Oh, Fernando Mendoza. Can't take Fernando Mendoza. I thought he was going to be there. Okay, Jordan Tyson to the Rams. Avion Terrell to the Jets. Denzel Boston to the Browns. Casey Concepcion to the Bears. Oh, the rich get richer. Okay, let's start right here. They could take Kenyon Sadiq. They could take the best tight end available, and they might. It just seems like that would upset George Kittle, Claire Kittle, Kyle Juszczyk, whatever his girlfriend's name is or wife. I mean, they wouldn't like it. And heaven forbid they were, had their feathers ruffled. I would not want to be ruffling a Juszczyk or a Kittle feather. I wouldn't do it. I'd get called out for being too close to them. So, yeah, Kenyon Sadiq, is he a fit? Would the veterans accept him? Is he Republican? These are questions I have. Because it seems like the Niners are looking for Republican. I don't know. I just don't think they're taking a tight end in the first round. The earliest they've ever taken a tight end is Cam Latu, and that didn't work out well. Plus, Kittle's coming back week 1, right? That's what they said. They already gave him an extension. I just don't think they're taking Sadiq. I think what they're going to do is go defense again. Because, and I'm not against it, they need a safety. They need a starting free safety. You're bringing in Raheem Morris, who is a defensive specialist. You're bringing him in because he creates big plays, turnovers. Well, he's not going to want Jair Brown. He's going to want his own starting free safety, and I could see them going for, it's either going to be Emmanuel McNeil Warren, who might be more of a strong safety, or Dylan Thieneman, who might be more of a free safety. Dylan Thieneman also might be more of a, elephant than a donkey, if you know what I'm saying. So I'm thinking Dylan Thieneman could be the pick. You know what I mean? Kind of a vanilla safety. You have Vanilla Ice at wide receiver, and you have Vanilla Ice 2.0 at safety. I think it could work. It just feels like it fits in the culture of the team. And no, he's a good player. He can play both in the box. He can play single high. He can play split safety. He's a good player, and he fits the culture of the team. So I'm going to take Dylan Thieneman. Although, again, I think Emmanuel McNeil Warren would be a good pick too, but he might be more of a strong safety, Nick Emanwari type, the kind of guy you might want playing in at nickel or at strong Sam linebacker. I don't know. Again, I've only been learning about these players for a couple of hours, and based on this research, I'm taking the white safety from Oregon. I mean, come on, that's a pretty good guess, don't you think? Don't you think? Hold on. What happened to the rest of the draft? Yeah, accept your cookies. What happened to the rest of the draft? New mock draft. No, I don't want to subscribe to your freaking. No! Daily draft limit? What? No, I'm a member. Tripping. Sign in with Google. Yeah. Woo! All right, I'm in. I'm back. 3 rounds. God. Now everyone saw my. All right. Sorry about that. Let me try that again. Okay. Hopefully the white safety is still there. Please. For the sake of Nick Bosa. Okay. Okay. Both him. Yes. Woo! Dylan Thieneman. Oh, man. They're going to love this guy. Okay. Who is next? Now, this is where I would not be against going wide receiver, even though I said the number one priority is an offensive line. I don't know if it's the best offensive line draft. Emmanuel McNeil Warren goes 38. Okay. So it wasn't like the next pick. Man, I did a great job, didn't I? Took this guy about 14 picks too high. You got to love just the reach right off the bat for a position the Niners almost certainly won't take. They haven't taken a safety before round 3 since Jimmy Ward. So definitely they're going to do it this year. Love my pick and my draft to start. 58, need is a wide receiver. Let's check out wide receivers. Nope. Yes. All right, so you got Jeremy Bernard, Elijah Surratt, CJ Daniels, Zachariah Branch. Now, again, this looks like a little bit of a reach. Maybe they trade down for Zachariah Branch, but let me read you about Zachariah Branch. He's 5'10", 180, so he's kind of small. This is what they say about him in his NFL draft profile. Slot receiver who can turn routine touches into explosive gains. Georgia prioritized quick touches at or behind the line of scrimmage to take advantage of Branch's ability to slip tackles and add yards after the catch. I expect to see more choice routes and deep crossers rolled into his workload as a pro. His routes are rushed and rounded, though. He will jump unnecessarily to make catches, which subjects him to added punishment from defenders. Branch is strong for his size and very tough. He could be pigeonholed into a manufactured touch role, but he's capable of more. He should help move the sticks and return punts before eventually settling in as a starting slot. Strengths, top-end speed to pull away and take it to the house. Praise for his work ethic and passion for the game at Georgia. Above-average play strength to battle against hands-on coverage. Able to pick and cut at full speed without losing his pace. Can punish zone coverage when working between short and deep. Piles on yards after catch when given too much breathing room. Showed an ability to thrive through heavy contact, catch contact. Access to instant speed when he wants it, offers a dangerous punt return option when teams need a play. Weaknesses. Large share of his targets were thrown behind the line of scrimmage at Georgia. Developed a bad habit of jumping to make the catch when it's unnecessary. Yikes. Rushes through his routes with little attention to detail. That never stopped Debo. Will need to eliminate his heavily rounded route turns. Again, that never stopped Debo. Short arms will require an accurate passer. Well, that's Brock Purdy. I don't know. I like this guy. He's got legit juice. He's extremely explosive. Is he small? Yeah. Does Kyle Shanahan care? Probably not. Round 2, I think you could take a gadget guy, end of round 2, and feel like that's a good pick. So I'm going Zachariah Branch in round 2. Wow, what a pick so far. And now I want a guard. So let me find Keelan Rutledge from Georgia Tech works. Anyone else? Doesn't look Billy. No, I don't like Billy. Jalen Farmer. I don't like Jalen Farmer. No. Nope. I'm going Kalen Rutledge. Let me get his. How do you spell Rutledge? Kalen with a E. Keelan Rutledge. Okay, let me get his draft profile and see what people say. Keelan Rutledge. Okay, he's went to Georgia Tech. A burly, experienced right guard. Damn. With excellent contact pop and rugged field demeanor that will appeal to offensive line coaches. He excels as a drive combo blocker where he displaces defenders, but he has the athleticism to operate in all run blocking concepts. He understands technique, but suffers from occasional rough patches due to inconsistent balance and body control. His pass protection range is average, and edge leakage could be a concern against NFL athletes. Rutledge has the toughness to earn a role as a good backup with starting potential. Strengths: burly, strong, and exceptionally tough. I like that. Works with smoothness and timing on combo blocks up to a linebacker. Love it. Generates knockback pop and creates movement on double teams. They need that. They haven't had that at left guard since Banks left. Generates, okay, got that. Sustains blocks for as long as possible and gets his licks in at the end of the rep. Cool. Gets into his pass sets with ready hands to unload on target. Cool. Punches with purpose and good force in his hands. I love that. Maintains hand connection when moving with rush attempts on his edge. Great. Weaknesses: leaning, lunging into pass punch creates early losses for him. That's not ideal. Struggles to sink a sudden anchor when bull rush gets an early lead. Damn. Recovery ability is subpar due to tight hips and heavy feet. Damn. Both. Inconsistent with base width and inside hands as a run blocker. Below average body control and contact balance. Yeah. Has issues tagging moving targets cleanly. Well, I love him. Sounds great. I'm taking Keelan Rutledge because, again, I know him very well. It seems like he's a great – it's not great that he played right guard and now I'm asking him to play left guard. You kind of want maybe – well, what do they say? Do they like my draft? Did they think it was great? Did they think it was wonderful? No. They hated it. Hated it. They like Keelan Rutledge, though, B+. I thought that was my worst pick. Dylan Thieneman, Zachariah Branch, Keelan Rutledge. I wouldn't be surprised if they go offense, defense, offense, offense. Defense, offense, offense. That was, I don't think anyone's going to like that, but I did it. And you got to respect that. It just happened. Clown draft, though, Grant. Thank you very much. I think Rutledge is a starter. The obvious choice is Malone from UConn. SF high character guys, Niners. Isn't the stands complaining about pocket time for their beloved quarterback? They want a good pass protector until they need a scapegoat to throw under the bus. They need a starter, not a guy that is a backup and maybe a starter. Reach, and finally a solid pick. Good thing Grant has nothing to do with draft picks. You suck at it, dude. Just stop. Thanks. Crazy part, this is starting to shape up like a Kyle draft. I was trying to channel my inner Kyle. Kyle's schemes are horizontal. He needs to get a speed burner to get some vertical. Currently, none of the wide receivers are able to separate. Well, that sounds like the Niners draft a guy for the wrong side. Oh, man. And then this guy says, Grant will tell you he isn't white. He's a Jew, but only when it's convenient for him. That's when he wants to shit on white people. He's white again. That wasn't nice. Hold on. I'm going to put you on timeout. Bad commenter. Start over. What a waste. Repubs don't exist anymore. White guy that thinks Grant is Ricky. I am Ricky. I try to tell you. Don't be racist. The racist. Sorry. I'm just trying to predict who's going to get picked based on historical data. The Niners are one of the only teams that's ever drafted a white wide receiver in round 1. You got to take that into consideration when you're making predictions. I'm just saying, you need data. Yeah. That Google guy is unhinged. All right, last thing I want to talk about, and then I'm done. Brock. I want to talk about Brock. I started a big discussion yesterday on Twitter. I listed my top 10 quarterbacks in the NFC. And it's Matthew Stafford one. And then after that, pretty much people have their own opinions. Because really the way I look at it is Matthew Stafford is the only elite quarterback in the NFC. And I think the word elite gets thrown around too much. What is an elite quarterback? To me, the definition of an elite quarterback is a quarterback who gives his team a chance to win the Super Bowl as soon as he gets in the playoffs. Like last year, if the Chiefs had somehow found a way to not crap all over themselves and sneak into the playoffs, wouldn't you have felt like they would have had a chance to win it all simply because they have Patrick Mahomes? I know I do. I would have. That's an elite quarterback. How many quarterbacks can you really say that about? Once they're in the dance, watch the hell out. To me, it's 3. That's it. Mahomes, Stafford and Josh Allen. You're terrified of them. The Seahawks are terrified of Matthew Stafford, and they're the best defense in the league, one of the best defenses of all time. That's an elite quarterback. All those guys are worth the money they make. Everyone else is varying degrees of good, which brings us to Brock. I ranked him 9th in the NFC. I ranked Caleb Williams 2nd. I ranked Jordan Love 6th. I pissed off Packer fans. I pissed off Niner fans. Bears fans seemed happy. So let me explain Brock's ranking first. First of all, let me say about why I put Caleb 2. Even though he's inconsistent, and you could say Dak Prescott's more consistent. Yeah, well, Dak Prescott's not elite, never been elite, never gonna be elite. He's very good. Very good. Not elite. Caleb has moments of eliteness. And I think he, of all the quarterbacks in the NFC, has the clearest path to becoming elite and could do so as early as next season. He was definitely playing like that in the fourth quarter of big games, playoff games. That's why I rank him number 2. I think he definitely has everything it takes to be elite in the true sense of the word. Not very good. I already think he's very good. Dak Prescott, very good. Baker Mayfield, very good. Sam Darnold, very good. Jordan Love, very good. Jared Goff, very good. These are experienced, established quarterbacks who essentially stay healthy and produce no matter what. Then you get Brock. And I would put Brock in the same category as Jaden Daniels. I talked about this a couple of days ago with Maj and Brandon, but those are also very good quarterbacks. Jaden Daniels and Brock Purdy. They are very good quarterbacks. So why do I put them lower than the other very good quarterbacks? To me, it's because of a few things. Well, it's one thing, mostly. Forget the turnovers for Brock. Forget that for now. It's the body type, the durability. It's not just that they've gotten injured and missed time. It's that you look at them and you think, man, you're going to keep getting injured and missing time for a couple of reasons. One, Jaden Daniels is a twig and Brock Purdy is small. He's a little person. And they have to run around a lot to be good. Jaden Daniels can't be Jared Goff and be good. He has to run. Brock Purdy can't be Mac Jones and be good. He has to run. I'm not talking about like mobile quarterbacks. Jordan Love is mobile. Sam Darnold is mobile. I'm talking about running quarterbacks like Russell Wilson in his prime. That's what Jaden Daniels and Purdy are. And so running quarterbacks, their whole game is built on a large part of their game is built on holding the ball a long time and making defenders miss, juking defenders. Jaden Daniels can do that. Brock Purdy can do that. But when they don't, they often get injured. When they don't make the guy miss, they often get injured. And, I mean, in the history of the NFL, smaller, skinnier running quarterbacks, but pretty clear shelf life. 27, 28. If you have to make guys miss, if you have to get outside the pocket, if you have to scramble and hold the ball a long time to be successful, you have to, because you can't really see the field that well from the pocket because you're 5'11". What's your shelf life? I mean, Brock's coming off a season where he went in 2023, he played the whole season. In 2024, he missed 2 games. In 2025, he missed 8 games. What's next? He's 25 now. He'll be 26 next season. How many more years can he run around, spin in circles, and make guys fall on their face like he's Peter Pan? Captain Hook's trying to get him. How much longer can he do that? I mean, I don't see many 31-year-olds running circles around the best edge rushers coming out of the SEC. I don't see that. That's the kind of thing you do until you're about 27, 8. Jalen Hurts doesn't even run anymore. He's 27. Lamar Jackson didn't run that much this year. He's 27. It just seems like the 49ers are in this position with this quarterback, just like the Seahawks were in with Russell Wilson. Can you win a Super Bowl with Brock Purdy? Yeah, I think you can. Just like the Seahawks did win a Super Bowl with Russell Wilson. And then they paid him. just like the Niners paid Brock. And then to justify the contract, you have to say, well, we got to let him do a little bit more. Let's make this an offensive team. It was a defensive team led by Marshawn Lynch on offense with Russell Wilson as a complementary player. That was a Super Bowl formula. But now now he's the highest paid player on the team by far, Russell. So we can't afford to have this superstar defense full of vets on second and third contracts. They got to go. And we need Russell to throw more and to do more. And that didn't work out for Seattle. The more he had to do, the worse he was. And they got rid of him. And that was the best decision they ever made. They got so much in return for Russell Wilson, set up this team they have now. And they didn't get the quarterback right at first. Geno Smith was pretty good. He was fine. And then Sam Darnold was a lot better. Thank you, Geno Smith, for not accepting their contract offer. They wanted Geno. So the Niners aren't alone in overpaying a quarterback. That's what I want to say. I crush them so much, but it's like every team does it. Cincinnati overpaid. The Chargers overpaid. The Dolphins, obviously. The Jaguars overpaid. The Packers overpaid. The reason I put Love and Darnold and Goff over Purdy and Jaden Daniels, maybe Jaden Daniels and Purdy have peaks that are higher than those guys. They're really good players with moxie and all kind of elusiveness that freaking Darnold doesn't have. Darnold can roll out and throw long, but like he's not Jaden Daniels or Purdy in terms of their dynamicness, dynamicness. He's not that. But if you're just really picking quarterbacks, so like, hey, for this year and the next 5 years, pick your quarterback. I can't pick Purdy ahead of Darnold because if I pick Purdy, then I know I have to have an incredible backup quarterback. You have to. Otherwise, you're fired. I get Purdy, now I got to go get Mac Jones or Kirk Cousins. I can't have Brandon Allen. Do that. You could win 6 games. He could play 9 games. So that's why I wouldn't want Jaden Daniels. I wouldn't want Brock Purdy. Now you're getting deep into the backup quarterback market, which is like, I'd rather just get Jordan Love, who you know is going to play 15, 16, 17 games. Justin Herbert's going to play 15, 16, 17 games. They've been doing it for a long time. Brock has been in the league for 4 years. He's had 1 full season, 1. And I said I wasn't going to bring it up, but of all the good quarterbacks, he throws the most interceptions by far. By freaking far. So you wonder, like, really, how much longer until he actually turns into a pumpkin? He's been doing the Cinderella story for 4 years. Is great, man. The clock hasn't struck midnight. What, 2 more years for Brock? 2? How many more injuries is he going to suffer? I mean, when is he slowing down? And when are the interceptions finally going to become a deal breaker? So again, I put them below. I feel like with Darnold and Love and Goff, you feel like I feel pretty confident saying they're going to be starting quarterbacks when they're 35 years old. And they're all going to start like 200 games in the NFL. I'm not saying any of them will be Hall of Famers, but Darnold just won a Super Bowl. If you gave Jordan Love JSN, the Packers would win a Super Bowl. I don't know if Goff's going to win a Super Bowl. I don't know about him. But you know exactly what he will give you, about 4,500 yards, about 35 touchdowns, and a stinker in the playoffs. So, look, if Brock stays healthy this year and stops throwing hella picks, he could be number 2. I mean, really, when Stafford gets old, it's going to be wide open at the top for who's the best quarterback in the league. And both Jaden Daniels and Brock Purdy have the potential to be elite if they could actually maintain their style of play for a long time without getting hurt and without throwing hella picks. I don't think Brock can do it. But I'm always wrong. I make a living out of being wrong. You guys know it. You're taking notes right now to throw this back in my face at the proper time, and I respect it. Because I would do the same thing. Because that's what the real world is all about. Calling people out when they put themselves out there and they were wrong. Discouraging people from putting themselves out there. That's what the real, crushing people's dreams and individuality and confidence so that they all fall in line and say the same things. That's what you want in a society. Everyone agreeing. Everyone afraid to say something different. And that's what I'm going to do. I really pissed off Packers fans yesterday saying that Caleb Williams is better than Jordan Love. And then I doubled down and said that the Packers would trade Jordan Love for Caleb Williams in a heartbeat. And like all their content creators were like, "You're high." Like, that's neither here nor there. Excuse me. That is an ad hominem argument, sir. You don't know me. Like, am I tripping? I had no idea that Packers fans thought that highly of Jordan Love. Like, is he good? Yeah. Is he elite? Hell no. I mean, we've seen him in the playoffs. He just gave up a 20, what was it, a 20-point freaking lead in the playoffs to Caleb Williams? I mean, and what's funny is when they bring up how great he is, they do all the same stuff that Lombardi does with Purdy. Well, did you look at his EPA per play? Like all the advanced stats say that Jordan Love is the best quarterback of all time. It's like, yeah, okay, but like I've seen him play. He's good, not great. I mean, right? And they're like, no, 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 no. No, he is the premier young quarterback in the NFC, and he is going to, it's like, dude, Packers fans and Niner fans are kind of similar. Not to denigrate Niner fans, because everyone watching my show is cool. All you guys are cool, but the ones that aren't watching, there's a little bit of like, we have the best coach, we have the best quarterback, we have the best team. Sure, we haven't won a Super Bowl in 31 years, but like Nick Bosa got held on that one play, and we've had some bad luck. And if you really know ball and grind the film, you can understand that the Niners should have been Super Bowl winners. So respect them. That's exactly how the Packers act. They just got bounced in the first round of the playoffs and extended their quarterback. Like the Niners wouldn't have done that. That's pathetic. Matt LaFleur is Kyle Shanahan on like everything I've ever said about Kyle Shanahan applies double to Matt LaFleur. He's a way bigger choker than Kyle's at least gotten to the Super Bowl. Matt LaFleur had Aaron Rodgers and couldn't figure it out, losing to Jimmy Garoppolo in the playoffs. Matt LaFleur. I mean, good offensive coordinator, good play caller, horrendous head coach. They're never going to win the Super Bowl, and they think they are. They got Jordan Love, Matt LaFleur, and Micah Parsons, and they're going to the Super Bowl, just like the Niners have Brock Purdy, Kyle Shanahan, and Nick Bosa. It's mirror images. Two of the most delusional teams in the league. I'm sorry. And the Cowboys are there. And the Patriots. Patriots over here acting like they accomplished something. You went to the Super Bowl because Jared Stidham was the one standing in the way at the end, and Drake May is not good. I have no idea how he was actually in the MVP conversation, but he is not good. Brock Purdy's better than freaking Drake May. Holy hell. Those are 4 teams. Raider fans know exactly what they're in for. They are not delusional. I feel for Raider fans. I feel like Seahawks fans are a fairly grounded group. Maybe I'm wrong. They like me, so maybe I'm just biased. Bears fans seem to, I feel like if you've been a fan of a team that sucked for a long time, like the Bears, you can't like puff up your chest and talk crap. That's what the Niners and the Packers fans do because their teams won Super Bowls a very long time ago. So if you see me tweeting a bunch of stuff about Jordan Love in the next few weeks, it's just because I found a new team that I want to troll. I've been trolling the Niner fans for like 15 years, and it is fun. But Green Bay, holy shit. Wow. There's fertile ground there. Fertile ground. Jordan Love. Drake May is good. He's just 12. Fair enough. Fair enough. He is turning 13 later this year, so maybe I shouldn't write him off just yet. KRNARMG says, Grant, I swear to God, if the Niners don't draft Kenyon Sadiq because it'll hurt George Kittle's feelings, I'm going to freaking lose it. Am I wrong, though? Am I wrong? Does what I did what I say not have the ring of truth? You really think Kittle and Juszczyk will be cool with that? You really think Kyle's going to alienate them or upset them in any way? Has he ever? Has he ever? He cut Juszczyk for a day and a half. He was back. He was back so freaking fast. You know who made that happen? Not me. I don't think Kenyon Sadiq's going to be there at 27. I know he is in these mock drafts, but I feel like everyone acknowledges that he's hella good. And once he runs around and talks to teams, he'll be in the top 15. Like, why would he be there at 27 when Colston Loveland went 10th last year? And Tyler Warren went, what, 17th? Why would this guy be available at 27? When he's the best tight end in the league, I mean, in the draft, and everyone knows that like tight ends are the new thing. Not the new thing, but 13 personnel really worked this year. I don't really think he's going to be there. Nick H says, where does Mac rank in NFC quarterbacks? I put Mac at 10, right after Brock. I put him ahead of Kyler Murray. I put him ahead of Jalen Hurts. Is that controversial? I didn't put Jalen Hurts in the top 10. Yeah, he won a Super Bowl. And I think from 23 to 26, he was a top 10 quarterback. When he's running, he can be elite. We've seen it in 2 Super Bowls because that's a unique skill set. He can be like your short yardage back. He was like the best short yardage back in football. Any 3rd and 1, any 4th and 1 around the goal line, that's a guaranteed first down or touchdown. Now, they did have that, play, but still, other teams can't run it like that. As a runner, at least just getting those stats, first downs and touchdowns, he was right there with Josh Allen. And then you add to that a quarterback who can manage the game a little bit and not throw a bunch of picks. That's not an elite combination, but it's a very good combination. Last year, he stopped running. I don't know why. Because he's 27 now, because he got paid, because he thinks he needs to transition to becoming a different type of quarterback. Now he sucks. You could blame it all on Kevin Patullo, and maybe he sucks too. He probably does. But what about the quarterback who stands in one freaking spot and stares at one freaking wide receiver the whole time? No one's scared of Jalen Hurts in the pocket. And then when he runs out of the pocket, he doesn't really throw on the run. If he throws on the run, he throws it out of bounds. And he stopped running. So, I mean, I'd be more interested in Jackson Dart at this point because he runs. And I would be much more interested in Mac Jones. Quarterbacks who are just going to stand still and play, I'd much rather have Mac Jones and Jalen Hurts. Put him at 10. I don't want Kyler Murray. Who else is there in the NFC that I'm not thinking of? Jacoby Brissett. Michael Penix. Yeah. Okay. Should we do some prize picks? I think we should do some prize picks. Let's do some prize picks. Okay. Let's get the prize picks on the screen. Shoot some NBA prize picks. Let's see what we got. Victor Wembanyama. 23.5 points more or fewer. He is facing. Who are you facing? The Pistons. They're from Detroit. Little known fact about the Pistons. 23.5 points. I would think more because this is Wemby we're talking about. Okay. Kevin Durant. The tweeter. The burner. 25.5 points. He's playing like his career. He's putting up shots, trying to get people to forget that he was tweeting up a storm. I'm going to say more for Kevin Durant. Always been a big fan. DeMar DeRozan. He was in college when I was in college. So was Durant. 16 points. No, I don't think so. Cade Cunningham. Hell of a player. Oh, he's due. He's definitely due. I want more on the 27.5 points. Who else we got? Russell Westbrook. Literally took a class with me at UCLA. 11.5 points. Man, he's washed. I'm going to say less. We took the same class at UCLA. Have I told the story before? It was dinosaurs and their relatives. It was freshman year, and I was trying to knock out all my, prereqs. So I took a bunch of science classes that seemed easy. I took one on black holes. That was actually very interesting. And then in the spring, I took one on dinosaurs and their relatives. It was when I was rushing a fraternity. So I didn't give it my best effort. I got a C+ in the class. And the problem was, it was a bunch of identifying fossils. Man, that's hard to do, especially when you haven't really done, you're trying to cram. And I'm just saying, I'm a very serious student. I didn't waste my dad's money on that one. But the point is, Russell Westbrook was in the class. And early on, when I was going to that class faithfully, I was walking toward it, and then it started about 5-10 minutes, and Russell Wilson was walking the other direction like he'd already taken it, but I knew he was in the same class as me because I saw him the first day in orientation. So I was like, hey, Russell, you're walking the wrong direction. I thought it was a good line. He didn't break stride. He didn't look at me. As he walked past, he just gave a one like a that's what it was like a I'll never forget that. And that meant, dude, get real. I don't have to go to that class. I'm going to get an A in that class. You're going to get a C plus. I'm going to go to the NBA. You're going to be yelling at your computer. I'm going to be worth $300 million. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. That's my Russell Westbrook story. He was pretty good at UCLA. Those are my picks. I'm gonna flex him. I'm gonna submit him. Download Prize Picks. Use promo code COHN. Play $5. Get 50 in lineups when you use promo code COHN. It's right on the screen there. Play 5, get 50 in lineups. Promo code COHN. All right, guys. It might be time to get back to the real world, man. Because I got to go in that confessional room over there and talk shit about all my roommates. You know, Brian's cool, but he didn't really brush his teeth this morning, and he talked really close to me. And you know what? I thought that was kind of, I almost slapped him in the face for that, but I didn't. I used to like that show, The Real World. And then when Dave Chappelle made the Mad Real World, that was so funny. Good times. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I enjoyed it. I hope you did too. I'll be back tomorrow again, 2:30 Pacific. John Lynch Talks. Expect me to go live around 4 Pacific with my pops. Instant reaction to John Lynch telling us exactly what he's going to do in the draft. I can't wait. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching.